What's going on, everyone? So it's been a little while since I have done a video, probably 6 months. I thought I'd jump on and do a bit of a 2024 grading review and then talk about my plans for 2025 with the Pokemon hobby having this crazy boom right now. It's the time of recording is 12th of January 2025 and we're well and truly seeing some crazy stuff happen with the market. I think during 2024, from a grading point of view, we definitely saw more people get into grading. We definitely saw more people middleman for people wanting to grade cards. And there's just been this more so education improvement or opportunity for people to grade cards. That's come around, I think, due to a number of things. I think PSA has definitely become, and I think grading has probably become more well known, but PSA has really been putting themselves out there, putting out a lot of information around how to grade and how to do it yourself. I know that they recently opened up the GameStop, I guess the GameStop relationship, where they now do $16 USD grading with GameStop. So that's a thing, and I think that'll definitely get way more people grading cards, especially because it'll be people walking into the GameStop with cards and saying, "Oh, all right, can you grade this for me?" So as a result of that, it all the way up until I guess October 2024, and around that time, we saw the market kind of a bit in a lull where there was a lot. I think there's just a lot of graded cards around, and it's not until this boom's kind of pick things up that people are buying slabs again and trying to buy a lot of the alt art type of, sorry, I've been sick, alt art, higher end modern stuff that's around. I was going to go through some of my stats for 2024 and compare that to 2023. Now, this year, or last year now, in 2024, I subbed 243 cards. So that was 199 PSA 10, so 44 cards did not get a 10, and that ended up being an 82% 10 rate. So I was pretty happy with that because that was up from 75 in 2023. I know in 2023, I think I graded about 330-ish, so there's quite a lot less cards, but the percentage in terms of PSA 10s has gone up a little bit. I also did grade a lot of Japanese back in 2023, whereas 2024 I was really focused on grading a lot more English because I just thought there was more value there in terms of the turnover. Although it is hard to grade. It is hard to grade English, but for me, I just enjoy chasing English cards. I can read them. And then I was just going to talk about my biggest sale this year and then talk about some of my favourite grading results from 2024. But biggest sale wise, so it was the PSA 10 Charizard from 151, the alt art, where he's flying up in the corner of the card. That sold in December 2024, so obviously during this whole boom thing. I actually had graded two of those earlier this year, and the other one I sold, I think, for about 500 AED at the time. So this one was crazy because I sold it for... I think I ended up getting $885 after fees, shipping, and all that stuff. So it was basically like a 348% gain, which is just huge. I spent somewhere around $197. So that was between the grading fee and also the raw card. So to go from 197 up to 885 is like insanely stupid, to be honest. I didn't think the card was ever going to get to that, but here we are. Favorite grading results. So there's a couple that I was going to mention, a couple of noteworthy ones. The first one, which was pretty cool, was I went up to Mint Collectibles, maybe December or November 2023, to get some cards. They were doing a trade-in sale, and people getting, I think, like an extra 20% on top of what they were trading in for, or something like that. So they had a whole influx of cards, and I picked up the Pikachu XY Radiant Collection card, which I'll flash up on the screen. Now that card, at the time I didn't even know, but it's like a 10% 10 rate, so it's really hard to grade. And the one I picked up was like $20 and it hit a 10. So that card goes for somewhere in, I guess, like the $300 plus range. So I ended up being in it for $50, and it's like 10x its value. The PSA 10 rate is, or the PSA pop report is 419 PSA 10s at the time of recording, and the total grade is 4,220. So about 10% of those. So for basically every 1 in 10 that you send, only one of those is going to get a 10. So that was pretty cool. I liked that. I like doing those little niche ones that, I didn't even know at the time though that it was such a low pop card or a low 10 rate card. Another one was just a PSA submission I did that returned in June of 2024. I actually got a 29 out of 31 PSA 10s. So the only cards that didn't hit 10 was a Celebrations Metal Charizard, which got a 9, and then an Umbreon V Alt-Art from Evolving Skies, which also got a 9 now. So obviously the Charizards, they're really hard to hit into 10. I think they've got a less than 20% 10 rate. The Umbreon's a little bit high. It's probably around the 55 to 60, maybe 65% mark in a 10. So, but yeah, that submission was like just chock full of cards I needed for my Alt-Art collection. I think I had like 2 Leafeon VMAX in there. I had those 2 Charizards that I just mentioned earlier in there. It was just such a crazy submission. And that was probably the best submission I did overall in 2024. Towards the end of the year, I graded some staff cards from Twilight Masquerade with Lunchbox Lock. So shout out to Lunchy if he's watching this one. And we basically, graded the 4 cards that come out of the pack. I think we'd spent 160. We went in it together. We spent $160 on the cards, and then I guess what's that? 30, 60, 90, 120, 120 on the grading cost. And we basically both kept one of the. I think we graded 2 9s or 1 9 and 3 10s, or 2 10s and 2 9s. I can't remember now. But I ended up keeping the Tatsugiri in the PSA 10, and Lunch also kept one. And we basically were able to sell the other 2 off and then keep those 2 for free. So both of us came away with the card for free for nothing. So that was pretty cool. Grading a staff card, I think the Tatsugiri has about it's about pop 22. So yeah, pretty low. And then the last one I was going to mention was not an individual card again, but it was more so just the fact that I've been able to grade 44 of the Sword and Shield Alt-Arts during 2024. Back in 2023, I think when I finished the year, I think I only had 22 of the Alt-Arts in the collection that I'd self-graded, and to add another like 44 during 2024 was, I was really happy with that. And I obviously didn't plan it this way, but the market's gone crazy for Alt-Arts at the moment. Like there's some crazy prices, and I graded stuff like Gengar and Lugia, Charizard, all those big cards in 2024. I graded the Umbreon, Leafeon, Sylveon, anything you could imagine, I pretty much graded. The only big cards I didn't grade were probably the Giratina, Aerodactyl, which I'm trying to right now. Hopefully I'll have another video out in a couple of weeks, which will have those cards in there, and they'll be 10s, hopefully. We'll see how they go. I'm just waiting on PSA to finally finish grading them, because they're taking a hell of a long time. What's on for 2025? Obviously, I want to complete the Sword and Shield Alt-Art collection. That's, I'm at 63 of 75 cards right now, so it's about 84% done. I really want to finish that set, and really want to do it in like the first half of the year, so I can start to focus on some other stuff. I've got, like I mentioned, Aerodactyl, Giratina. I've got Berserker. I've got the Glaceon, Leafeon, and Espeon Vs, all from Evolving Skies. I've got Golurk. I've got a Chilling Reign, Articuno, the Galarian one. The UPC Charizards, which I'm trying to grade, which they're terribly hard to grade. They're only like a 20% 10 rate. Right now, the main focus for me is to complete that set in PSA 10 self-graded and do it in 2025, because it's like, I think it's almost going to be, it'll be 2.5 years that I'm into it once I hit probably March, 2.5 years in. I'm also planning on grading my childhood collection this year, so I've got 8 more cards from my childhood collection, all holos. So I've got Blastoise, Ninetales. What else do I have? Anyway, I've got like 8 cards. I'm going to send those to PSA this year and get my childhood collection graded, so that should be really fun. I do have the Dragonite from my childhood that I graded a couple years ago, so that was like one of the first cards I graded. And then I'm going to try to finish my Celebration set if PSA gets cheap enough. So I think I'm at 18 of 25 for the Celebrations Classic Collection. I just want to finish that, self-grade it. I've just put it off just because of the cost of grading. It's like $30 a card. So it does add up, and I've got to kind of try to offset that with selling other cards. And so a lot of the cards that are still left are like really cheap cards that I need to grade. I've got a whole heap of them just stacked there waiting to go. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, so I do want to finish that. I'm probably just going to grade another collection goal is probably just grade random bits and pieces that I pick up along the way, like the staff cards. That's a fun thing I'd like to do again. There's some Worlds cards I actually picked up last year that I want to grade. I might even buy some Worlds cards in PSA 10 eventually. Potentially going to look at buying PSA 10 Delta Species set. The reason being is it's got a lot of my favorite cards in there. If you don't know the set, it's got Dragonite, Tyranitar, all the evolutions. I think it's got Rayquaza in it. Mewtwo, it got a couple other probably like lower tier cards in there, like Beedrill maybe, Gardevoir, they're in there. But the set itself has got a very like Evolving Skies vibe to it, so I do like that. I also like that in Delta Species and in the EX era they introduced the Delta species typing, which means that the cards actually take on a different typing. So the Tyranitar, for instance, is actually a fire type, and I think that's just a really cool thing. And I don't think they've ever done that since, really. They have done that. I think they did do that in Scarlet and Violet with some cards where they gave them a different typing based on the region, but there hasn't just been like, this is the typing, not because of the region or anything. So potentially I'm going to look at trying to pick up some PSA 10 Delta species cards if they come along. That would probably be after I finish doing the old cards. I don't think I'm going to try to do that at the same time, because there's some pretty expensive cards in there. You're looking at like $500 to $1,000 plus for a lot of the main popular ones. The not so popular ones are a little bit cheaper, like $300, but yeah, that'll be probably a bit of a 2, 3 or 4 year goal if I end up trying to do that. I do already have the Tyranitar, so it'd be good to at least get the Dragonite, which is not as cool, but yeah, anyway, as in the artwork's not as cool. Lastly, not so much collecting, but I just want to attend more events in 2025. So we have in Brisbane, I know, the Collectors Market, I think it's in May this year. And then there's this new one called Collect Fest, which seems to be, the one that's going to be the big one for the year. And I think they're doing it in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. I think Brisbane's July, August. So I'm definitely going to try to get to both of those. And then maybe go to some other events across the country if anything comes up that looks good. And I'll go to that. So yeah, that's my really brief 2024 wrap up, and then a bit of what's going to be happening in 2025. Hopefully I can get some more videos out soon and keep them a bit more regular than the hiatus that I've had, which is like 6 months long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.